So, Mr. Henry, what it's going to be is 2 counts of accessory after the fact, tampering with a witness in a capital felony, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. In exchange for that, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty on the 2 accessory counts as well as the tampering count. I'm going to sentence you to 10 years in Florida State Prison. That will be followed by 6 years of reporting probation. In the unlawful use of a two-way communication device, that's a second-degree felony. The maximum exposure.
It's a third degree, Your Honor.
It's the second as charged, I believe. So, sir, again, before the agreement you made with the state, before the deal you made with the state, your maximum exposure here was life in Florida State Prison, followed by 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 75 years in Florida State Prison. Sir, do you understand all the pending charges and the maximum possible penalties involved? And it's my understanding that you want to resolve both cases today. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that resolution is an agreement you've reached with the state, the terms of which are as follows. Number 1, in the 19 case, you're going to plead no contest to both counts of accessory after the fact. In the 23 case, you're going to plead no contest to all 4 counts as charged. In exchange for that, the state is going to null pros, that is, drop the 2 first-degree murder counts. All right, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty. Yes, sir.
That was the exact moment YNW Bortlen avoided a life sentence, a shocking deal that left the courtroom buzzing and left everyone asking, how did it come to this? And more importantly, what does this mean for YNW Melly's retrial, where the death penalty is still on the table? Let's rewind. One day before trial, Bortlen took a deal that spared him from life in prison and possibly put YNW Melly in more danger than ever. A 10-year sentence, 6 years probation, and a sworn statement that could swing the biggest trial in hip-hop. The chapter on Bortlen is closed, but the story of YNW Melly is far from over. And in 2027, the world will finally hear the verdict that could decide his future forever. To understand the shock, you've got to rewind. October 2018, a studio night in Fort Lauderdale runs late. When it's over, 2 members of the YNW circle, Christopher YNW Juvie Thomas Jr. and Anthony YNW Sack Chaser Williams, end up dead. From the beginning, investigators said the whole thing was staged to look like a drive-by in Miramar near the Everglades. The names were already making noise online. Jamel YNW Demons, a rising star, and Cortland YNW Bortlen Henry, his close associate. Police said the story the world was given didn't match the evidence they were seeing. That's how both men went from studio buzz to the center of a double murder investigation. By 2019, both Melly and Bortlen were under arrest. Each faced first-degree murder counts. Over time, more wrinkles appeared. Bortlen was rearrested in 2023 for alleged witness tampering tied to the case. Meanwhile, Melly's first trial in 2023 ended in a way that split the internet. A deadlocked jury and a mistrial. Depending on who you asked, it was either a preview of reasonable doubt or a warning that the evidence was messy and the narrative never quite landed cleanly in the box. Either way, it didn't end the story. It only paused it. After the mistrial, the case didn't just slow down, it hit every speed bump in Broward County. The defense went at the state's investigation, pointing to alleged issues with a lead detective. The original prosecutor was replaced. Then the court suppressed a promotional video about Melly's life that the state wanted to use at trial. That ruling got kicked upstairs to the 4th District Court of Appeal, and while the lawyers argued on paper, the calendar kept flipping. Result, the September 2025 retrial date got shuffled again. Now all eyes are on January 2027. That's a long runway for both sides to adjust strategy, reevaluate witnesses, and rethink how to tell this story to a brand new jury. Then came the swerve. With his own murder trial literally a day away, Bortlen stepped up and took a plea. No contest to accessory after the fact counts plus select tampering in exchange for dropping the first-degree murder charges that could have meant life. The judge didn't hide his reaction. In open court, he basically said, I don't know how your lawyers pulled this off, but he accepted it. 10 years in, 6 years out on probation. Credit for time served and a sworn statement promised to the state. That's the kind of courtroom swing that turns legal watchers into conspiracy theorists overnight. Did someone blink? Did the state need the certainty? Or was this always where things were headed once the appeals court stepped in and the calendar stretched to 2027? The paper says what the paper says, the sentence is set, and the sworn statement is coming. So, what does all this do to Melly's 2027 retrial? Two things at once. First, timing. The long runway to January 2027 gives prosecutors time to analyze any sworn statement from Bortlen and decide whether it helps them carve a cleaner narrative. Second, leverage. If the sworn statement lines up with the state's theory, expect motions and strategy to quietly adjust. If it undercuts them, expect the defense to wield it like a hammer. Big warning here. The public statements today say there's no current plan to call Bortlen at Melly's trial, but plans evolve, subpoenas exist, and judges can compel testimony when protections no longer apply. Still, until filings hit the docket, treat the loudest claims online like what they are: speculation looking for oxygen. The moment Bortlen's plea deal hit the internet, the comment sections lit up. Some fans see it as a blessing, others see it as betrayal, and almost everyone thinks this move could end up hurting Melly. One person wrote, "Do he gotta hit that stand is the real question." And that's exactly what people are worried about. If Bortlen's sworn statement forces him onto the witness stand, that could be devastating for Melly's defense. Another fan put it bluntly, he might have cooked Melly with this one. That's the fear, because even though Bortlen didn't plead guilty to murder, his no contest plea means he's officially tied to the case. And once he starts talking under oath, Melly's name is guaranteed to come up. Not everyone was against the deal though. Some said 10 years good, better than a life sentence. And they're right. Bortlen avoided what could have been a permanent prison bid. But the other side of that coin, people believe Melly just got left holding the bag. One comment spelled it out perfectly. So if he took the plea deal, I wonder what it said, because that means you gotta admit to doing something. And if he admitted to involvement, they'll use that to criminalize Melly more. That's the heart of the debate. Did Bortlen just save himself while putting Melly in a worse position? Some fans aren't sugarcoating it at all. One comment just said, "Melly is cooked." And when you read through hundreds of these replies, you realize that's a common theme. People think this plea might be the nail in the coffin. Of course, there's also the crowd screaming, "Free Melly, free Bort," no matter what, but even they know the clock is ticking. Melly's retrial isn't until 2027. That's 2 more years of waiting, 2 more years of speculation, and now 2 more years with Bortlen's sworn statement floating around in the background. And that's why the internet is so divided. On one hand, Bortlen secured his freedom down the line. On the other, his deal could hand prosecutors exactly what they need against Melly. The question everyone's asking now is simple. When that sworn statement drops, will it save Melly or sink him?